Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a trained government remote viewer, also trained in interspecies communication, but that training came from when the US government sent me to, I believe, the northern part of India, where there's a tribe. I could have the name incorrect. I think they're called Todes. The location, the name can be incorrect, but the point of the matter is that they sent me there to live days or weeks, I have no way of knowing, with a tribe that were very indigenous, of little clothing, no brushing of the hair, no bathing. And I learned intercommunication, interspecies communication there because this tribe had that communication all of the time with our planet, which we need to teach our children to do that. As a matter of fact, I was taught that, and from what I understood years later, is that the NASA handled a group of kids that were in mind control programs. I hope nobody's head gets cut off because of this. And they called the kids space babies. So maybe a lot of us space babies need to be called up to bat to see if we can't help out in this transition. Because all humans are good, even the ones who have carried the energy of being bad people. And until you actually integrate that, this part of the process of the planet, this ending to go into a new wonderful cycle, is going to be very difficult. We were never taught that we can love people and they can love us to death, but they can also do us a lot of damage. And they do. That's actually what therapy is all about. But then why was this set up like this? We'll ask that question when we get to the end, but the trick of the matter is that if somebody had said to us, even in therapy, that person loved you to pieces, they would have died for you. And there was an aspect of them, a subpersonality according to the Mayans, the dark side of you according to therapists, that had a problem. And then they did something god awful, but that didn't mean that they didn't love you to pieces. You're never told that. And that is the truth. So now we get to an entire planet that is dealing with people that have done bad things, Epstein file, and we're never going to get a grip on it unless we understand certain basic laws of the planet. We need to understand the whole thing about sex. So let's see, I've sold 9 copies of my book. It's called Sex. We got to figure this out. Actually, it's more than 9 copies, but not that many more. And the answers are in there, but it's not like the kind of answer that you can get handed to you on a platter because we don't even know the baseline things about the planet. And that is why the intelligence community was able to swing us around like we were like little rag dolls because nobody knew. Did anybody know about Schiff? Did anybody track everybody who worked under him, who was unfortunate enough to work under him, close to him, the people from his committees, the people underneath him? Because there is no way that he did not mind control all of those people. It's just there's no way. I mean, I don't know everything about the system of mind control, but I know enough to know, and you do too. You get somebody that sick, that bad, and who obviously has so much control over people to where they end up doing things that are downright, excuse the word, stupid. Obviously, something's going on. So, has anybody tracked that? Please track that. Just get the list of all those agencies he was in charge of, all the intelligence agency. I'm sure he was in charge of the Foreign Relations Committee also, and who knows what else. And I think you're going to be looking at a series of victims. And some of you are going to want to say, well, no wonder they did this bad thing. You're not getting it, are you? You're not getting it yet. Let's go ahead and go to the map. And I think a lot of you thought I would never get back on here again, being that my two heroes, Trump and Elon, went at each other's throat. They're separate ways. Who knows what they're doing? All the stuff that comes out about them. No. What did I just tell you? Why didn't they teach us in therapy that you can love and hate the same person? As a matter of fact, they do teach you that you cannot hate unless you actually love that person. Do I still love these two people? Yes. Was I shocked when they went into that? Yes, but there was so much black magic done on that relationship. It's not. And then we have people with two different intentions. We have Trump, who's leading a whole country and has to kind of have everything, all the different opinions make sense, and then make it economically stable as we're subduing people and saying yes to people that we would prefer not to have to work with. And then we have Elon, who's total creativity and who doesn't have to please anybody but himself. It's a different intention, it's a different path. And the trick of the matter is, we need to learn to work together regardless of our differences. How many times has that been said throughout history? Forever. But it's the truth. The biggest example is that line. The definition of the word sex means to divide, to cut, and that's what sexuality did to the planet. We arrive on the planet, a being, and God says, I think this guy is lonely, cuts him. It's in the Bible, and you got female. That's why the definition of sex is to cut, to divide. So that line, we don't even understand the people on the other side of the line, even if they're our wife, our husband, our kid. If they're on the other side of that line of sexuality, there's a craziness that comes. It's not a craziness, it's a programming. So we have to be patient with each other. But we have some information here. I have the map. I have a message from the dolphins that is reassuring but disconcerting. And then I have the whole thing about you never looked into the incubus and succubus spirits that the Catholic Church even talks about, that are the ones that if somebody commits a perversion, a crime that includes sex, those are the spirits. Maybe you would need to find out more of them. Where do they come from? Orion. Oh, that's the planet. Some people say that Orion took down planet Earth. Maybe you need to know more about Orion. Maybe you need to know more about incubus and succubus. Let's go to the map because that'll make you happy. I was not expecting this. Facebook let me out of jail. They're watching me closely. They actually took down my last chat. They took it down. Before that, their excuse was that I was using music wasn't mine, not accurate, because I only use music that I have paid to have it composed with the frequencies and the images. So I'm back in, but we don't know for how long. So if you're looking at me in the English YouTube, you may want to make yourself familiar with the path to the Francis Fox Reveals Spanish YouTube, because I am not as monitored there. Because you see, the problem in this country is that your intelligence community does not want the Anglos. The Hispanics, it's okay. But the Anglos, they don't want you to have this information. The map makes me cranky. Here we go. I did not expect this. We have the protection in the Gulf of Mexico. We have the Mayan pyramids coming up, and I believe that we're going to have a hurricane season that's not going to be that big an issue. Future's elastic and plastic, that can change, but this creates stability. We have green in Texas. And what does the rest of that map say? I've got it right here. Elon is renewed. He's doing stuff that he loves. That's why you cannot work for a living. You have to work for your mission. And you can be like Elon and make a ton of money because he's definitely aligned with his mission. And that is why it's so important that Elon take care of himself, because he's an example to everybody, particularly the younger people. They don't have to be in jobs that they don't love. They can make their own thing. Okay, now it does require discipline, but we're not going to talk about that right now because I'm half German and I was brought up in the military. So I think that most people don't have enough discipline, but I'm probably wrong. So we have Elon renewed. We have Trump limping. We're going to get into that in a few minutes, but we all know, that U.S. heartbroken. Of course, we did not expect what's happening with the Epstein list. We have the frequency, human frequency in Canada, as bad as, actually not as bad as it was last week. It's still red. It's not good. but we recuperated our frequency. In the United States, we're now back to the blue. Now, while you guys were sleeping, partying, and doing whatever, the Mantrista movement group, my group, we were doing purifications. This is what we look like. What's the date on there? On the 10th. See these lines? Frequency. This is Canada. Bad. Oh, but we did have the protection. Okay, we did. And so here we go back to today. We still have the protection. So regardless of what you think about what Trump did he lie? Did Bondi lie? Apparently, the Galactic Federation is still very happy with the United States. If not, we would not have that Merkaba, that Star of David talisman that is 6,000 years old. It does not belong to the Jews. They used it very intelligently 2,000 years ago, but it's 6,000 years old, and it is protection. So this looks really good. And Texas has green, and it has all that water coming down. So I need to ask the dolphins about that, but we're not going to get into Texas right now. So let's go into gossip, which I know a lot of you are probably only here for that. When I look at Bondi, what I see is a body that is completely burnt to a crisp. I don't know what's going on with her. This does not reflect on her intentions. This reflects on her environment. We are a balance of the elements, and if our environment is too hot, it affects our mind streams because they're 120 electricity and they get burnt up. But I've never, ever, ever seen somebody who looks like Pam Bondi now. What she looks like is a brown doll it's not like charcoal. It would be more like a tree that was in a forest fire. So this is not a judgment. But if anybody wants to be good to her, and we should all be good to her, you should visualize her inside an igloo and underneath a cascade of cold water. She is burnt to a crisp. I don't know how she can be functioning. This is not a criticism and this is not gossip. This is an observation. Now, we are under a galactic attack that started not this Saturday, but the previous. And the attack is via frequencies of fire. Maybe what I'm seeing is the person who's front and center having to do with a political situation that feels like it could take down the whole country. Maybe they really went after her. Something went after Pam Bondi, and it wasn't a whispering in her ear, and it wasn't her choice. You cannot burn up like that. I have never seen anybody look like that. So please, everybody, even right now as I'm speaking, just visualize. That's a creative visualization, but it's actually how you make things happen in the other dimensions. In Renaissance time, they considered that visualization was actually another dimension. That's totally accurate. So just visualize her under a cascading water. It's very worrisome. You cannot stay functional like that. And then who knows what people are going to say actually happened. Because this is not a choice thing having to do with her. And I'm not trying to defend her. I've never felt one way or another about her. Getting back to Schiff, he's still around. I am still in my process. Whenever you have a problem, you need to ask, why do I need this problem? I told all my followers that because I learned it. When you don't need the problem anymore, the problem goes away. Now, I've been dealing with my handler, not Schiff, my handler, whose name I'm not allowed to say because his daughter's a lawyer in Miami and she went after my kids. Why would I still need for my handler to still be around? He's hanging on by his fingertips. Apparently, he has AIDS, STD, I don't know what else. And apparently, he's like really angry and trying to get at whoever he can to spread his disease. I mean, the man is very sick. very angry at me that I'm still standing and that he's on his way out. But why would I still need this problem? This has been like 5 or 7 years. Give me a break. Did I not learn? But you see, it's not just simply, it's not me having to learn something I did wrong. No. Every time I ask is because in having to defend myself from him, I'm learning more about really dark magic, the kind of dark magic that basically has controlled the United States. I thought I knew a lot. This Schiff guy and this other guy, my handler, university, postgraduate, whatever, and I'm in kindergarten and I know a lot. Okay, so why would I still need this man to be around? Because now what I'm finding is all the mind control stuff. Do you want to know where most of the mind control? You have 72,000 mind strings, and your mind flows in them. Your mind is a nectar. The mind streams are the structure, string theory, whatever. So every issue that you have is connected to some part of your mind, which is connected to some part of your body. So I'm learning all about the connections having to do with mind control. You need to listen to this because you may have somebody in a cult. And so here we go. Remember this? Okay. So I did all these little sketches, and these strings come from the upper part of the body. And this is my handler, and he had mind streams of his inserted into me, into his wife, into everybody, I think, who lived near him. I think he was everybody's handler. And he and Schiff had mind streams inserted into each other. Okay. Okay. So where are we going with this? I found where the major mind streams insertions are that control people. They don't even know they're being controlled. That you don't know you're being controlled, even if it's in another part of your body. But there's the deepest, and I don't have the perfect words yet. I'm still learning. Let me make sure that what I'm saying is accurate. The place where they insert their mind streams. Remember, when you have sex with somebody, their mind streams are inserted in you, and it stays there even with no more sex for 12 years, up to 12 years. And your mind streams are inserted in the other person. I don't think that that is the only way that you get mind streams from another person inserted in you. And then if you have the misfortune that they're savvy about mind control, you don't even know what's going on. The place where the most important mind streams are inserted in people in order to control them is exactly the same place where when you take DMT, you're taken there. And so you're going to say, yeah, but nobody knows where those dimensions are having to do with DMT. Well, actually, I can tell you where it is. It's in your coccyx, your tailbone. So every time I was told these two men are living off of your energy, that's why they keep showing up at night to try to insert again, to be able to live off of my energy. And how do they do that? It turns out that the tailbone at the end of it, it's like in a little puddle. It's a little puddle of the element of fire, and it's there to vitalize your spine. So if you have somebody who knows about mind control, they insert, and I do not think that it's just via sex, they insert their mind streams in that area, the coccyx area. They're not only controlling you, they can actually siphon off of you your vitality. I would like a round of applause right now from all of you. This is such an incredible piece of information. So you may not find it that interesting, but I think that the craziness with the Epstein's files and the people, if we understood mind control, we'd go, oh, I get it. I wonder how they were able to get that person. You could say, well, no, it was blackmail. Blackmail is absolutely a part of it, but the whole silent mind control, such as what's happening to one of the people that Schiff is controlling, that man is standing up in public and making all these declarations and all this stuff that is not to his advantage. But he's only doing it because he's mind controlled by Schiff. And he's not going to make any sense because it's not his mind. So, DMT, I'm actually going to try to contact Graham Hancock, who is the guy that did all the stuff on the apocalypse and the showing that the archaeologists have basically been controlling us and not allowing us to have new information and new discoveries because they're at the top of the hierarchy of their science. And they said this, therefore, your discovery that says something different has got to be put away. Oh, that's ending. Authority is getting kicked to the side. But I think I'm going to approach him because I would like to. I'm not going to take DME, and I'm not suggesting anybody take it, but I would like to remote view somebody who takes DMT. I did that with stem cells and with a lot of other things. Oh my God. Unbelievable. The information that I got. Stem cells is the battle between light and dark, but at the level of cells. It's like a little video game. Unbelievable. So, gossip. Pam Bondi, please ice her down. I'm not talking there. No, this is not a word thing. This is not a theory. This is not a concept. This is not a conspiracy. This is basically the four elements, and this poor woman has been burnt to a crisp. I don't know how she's functional. I don't know. Schiff is still around. I don't think he's being energized by anybody. Certainly not by me. My handler could be inches away from passing because he's already sick. And maybe I finished learning what I needed to learn from him, which was not a lesson. See, the definition of karma is that you draw to you what you need. And people translate that into you would behave poorly with somebody. Now they're going to behave poorly with you. No, that's not it. If you think that's it, then you're missing out on a lot. Before we come in, we go into agreements with souls. We decide what we want to do in this incarnation, and then we figure out what astrological sign will set us up the best. And then we ask different souls if they would please. I need to meet you when I'm 20, and then I need to be married to you until I'm like 45. And then after that, you need to disappear because after that, I have something I really need to do, and you can't be part of it. Oh, okay, I'll do that. That is literally the way it is. We're playing a game. We all have masks on, and nobody gave us the rules. Okay? So, the Epstein list. When I checked, after I got out of shock, when I saw Bondi making her statement and then Trump backing it up, what? And then I looked at Bondi's mouth as she was speaking, and there was no black here. Now, I didn't listen to her whole statement. I listened to the beginning, basic when she's, there is no Epstein list. What I have perceived is that she's correct. There is no, not an Epstein list. But if any of us is dumb enough to think that the intelligence community that did all of this did not manhandle that list and stick in a lot of people that never went to the island, or a lot of people that were associated because they were victims, but they were not victimizers, putting them into this list that they've been in control of forever. If you think that they didn't manhandle that, I mean, I don't understand. I guess we need to stop and say, why did we actually think that they would not touch that? They did. Now, is there a clean list someplace? Is there a list someplace? And here we go back to, why would you need this problem? We have all the bad people identified. No, we don't. And I've been saying this from the first day. We don't have the bad people identified because most of the people there would not have been there if they hadn't been blackmailed. But you can be blackmailed and you can go, you know, oh, wow. There are people, and I'm not talking about me, even though it may apply to me. There are people who don't let them, who are not, who didn't allow their shame to stop them from saying, no more. No, I'm not going to do that. There are people in this country that did that, and you're never going to find out about it because most people cave. That's how they have, that is like the number one way they control, mind control victims is through their shame. The first thing they do is make you think that you killed a baby or babies. They set it up. They're expert at it. And then they continue with all sorts of other things. It reaches a point where you say, I can't say anything. Look at all this stuff I did. You are a mind control victim. It's okay, according to my therapist. No, it's not okay. I did say, I don't know if it was 5 years ago or 7 years ago, but I wasn't talking about me a minute ago. I'm talking about somebody who did that and said, no, cost him his life. But about 5 or 7 years ago, my handler said, I think I'm going to, and it had to do with one of my grandkids. And until that point, I am sure I was the most obedient mind control victim of them all. And at that point, I went, which was complete craziness because it turns out that my handler was one of the most important and powerful people in this whole program. But I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't. And I came up with that statement, which I have repeated: kill everybody. Oh, I'm going to kill your family members. And you know what? I'm going to make you choose who I'm going to kill first. All sorts of variations on those statements. Okay, so you have 5 grandkids. So then kill them all. Just kill everybody. Just kill everybody. And they couldn't tell me that they were going to kill me because I was already wanting to die when I was a teenager. I didn't want to be here. Why would I be here? I'm not getting any place. I can't even. The only reason for being was to take care of my brothers and sisters, and I wasn't doing a good job of that. I couldn't stop these people. So look what they do. They put in an anti-suicide program. So anyway, the big issue is shame. So that's the big issue this country has to deal with is shame. If Trump lied, then he has got to, at some point, do his mantra having to do with, even though I'm ashamed, I lied. You may be ashamed he got caught, but it doesn't really matter. It's still shame. That is the big issue. Now, let me read what the dolphins said, okay? And I will read the entire thing. I will not leave out the stuff that I think you might go, oh, she's saying that just for her. I'm reading exactly the conversation, which I type it up. I ask the questions and they answer. So this is today around 5 o'clock. I said, okay, dolphins, we're in a lot of pain here in the United States, and the Epstein list may take us down. I continue. What can be said? What do we need to understand so that this can be ironed out less chaotically? And they said lots of mantras are needed and faith that there is a reason for this mess. Revelations is about what has always been there, yet unseen. And then they say something interesting, such as having 2 gods that dominate this planet, a god of light and a god of darkness. Okay, they threw that in. So then I say, okay, so what can we do? And they said, nothing. They said, you personally don't have to do anything. You can walk away now and be clean, or you can throw yourself into the fray, which is really about controlled demolition of the planet. So the Epstein file issue is about the controlled demolition of the planet. They continue. So stay where you are in terms of what you're sharing and allow others to go down if that's what's necessary for them to confront the darkness they do not want exposed. And that could be the darkness of why there was apparently lying with the people that we have adored, or at least I did. Um, then I continue. What if they already saw the darkness and now choose different? In other words, they see what they did wrong. That means that what is left is the reaction of shame, which is what you are working on. So again, you instinctively know what needs to shift. Now the mantra needs to be done sufficiently to allow the purification of their reactions to their own darkness, and their personal history will not need to be part of the current reality. I'm going to repeat that. If you have done anything dreadful, you assaulted somebody, you stole something, you killed something, whatever. We're in Revelations. It's going to come out because it needs to come out. But why does it need to come out? For you to deal with your reaction, how much you hate you, and how ashamed you are of what you did that has been sitting inside of you fermenting. If you do the shame mantra, which is the most important reaction, shame is the lowest vibration of all, your god awful behavior does not need to become part of public knowledge. Why? Because you need it for it to be public, to put it in your face so that you look at yourself and go, oh my God, what did I do? I'm so ashamed. You don't need that because you already did it. Can you get that? You only have a problem on planet Earth if you need it. If the United States is the one holding the hot potato of the Epstein thing, and I think he's British, it's because this country needs the shame of all this sexual darkness. But if we do the shame mantra, that we're ashamed of this that has been hidden amongst us, it doesn't need to be ugly. Now, I've been teaching that for several years. I learned it many years ago. I integrated it several years ago. And today it's just, for me, remember, I don't have a life, so I have a lot of time to do all of this. It's a natural process. So what we did with the Mantrista movement last night is we did like half an hour, 45 minutes of shame in terms of the United States, because that is the vibration that can take us down. Now, we can't get away from the Epstein thing. We can't get away with it. And I've said from the beginning, half those people you're going to want to put in jail are only there because they were blackmailed. And please do not tell me that it is that easy to say, go ahead, kill my family, kill my kids, kill me, let the whole world know that I'm gay when I pretended that I'm not. This can go a different way if we understand the laws that this planet is governed under, and we were never told. And this country has been purposefully blocked from having that information. And I remember when I came out of the closet as a psychic, I'm not gay. Okay, I like men. I'm not gay. When I say that statement, people, oh, she's going to say she's gay. When I first came out of the closet as a psychic spy, which is basically what I was trained to be, one of the things, I lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was going with that, so I'm going to let it go. So we did, and we will again get together tonight. We have an event, and we will get together, and we will continue to do the shame mantra for the United States. I would suggest that everybody who is even remotely associated with the Epstein file do the shame mantra. And I would suggest that what I got may end up, you may end up finding is accurate. You're not going to have the same people who set all of this up, which is the intelligence community, have that list, and not with their incredible creativity and all the time in the world, make that list to where nobody's going to want it to come out. And nobody is going to know what end is up. And because of the level of shame associated with everything sexual, of course, we're going to have population collapse. We don't know anything about sex or how the spirits use sexual issues and shame to control us. Anyway, bottom line, we know what the issue is. The issue is shame. Okay, but who has to be shamed? Who has to be ashamed? Oh, I don't like that question. We're doing the mantras at night for the United States. Half those people aren't from the United States and they're doing it for the United States. So you weren't one of the abusers. You're not on the list, but you can still do the shame mantra for the United States. Come on. What do you mean? You didn't do anything. We are a community and energy transfers and this whole Epstein thing is going to take us all down. And we did not all participate in that. Okay? So we're going to do the shame mantra now because I could go on and on forever. I'm going to make a statement now. I don't understand. This is the type of thing that cannot continue in this country. Okay? I don't understand how people, and I am not the one that declares this, and I wouldn't, how people can call this a Christian country and then create a medical system that does not do what Jesus Christ did. Every time he gave a healing, the first thing he did was cast out spirits. So I would prefer that anybody that does not address that, not say again that this is a Christian country. This is like saying this is a country that follows. I don't even have a good example. It's so crazy. How can you say you're a Christian Christ on the cross, Christian healing, Christian miraculous, Christian, what the first thing is spirits? Yeah, but we don't do that. Then you're not a Christian country. Got it? You're gonna give people the death sentence when they rape children? Hello? You're not a Christian country. You got your own perverted version of Christianity. Read the book, The Gods of Eden. It might help you to understand. So let's go ahead and do the mantra. I'm telling you, this whole thing with the healing, do you know how many times I was told by people who are very into law and all that, you can never use the word healing. You can never say you give a healing. You're going to end up in jail. So I ended up having to substitute the word purify so that people who actually want to kill us instead of heal us are allowed to use the word heal. But I'm not. That's the kind of thing that when we have little kids and they see that and they don't make sense of it and their parents don't make sense of it, they just follow like robots. That's half of what's the matter with our kids. The world that we set up doesn't make any sense. Please start with that. And I have no issue with Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? I wish all of you were like him, but you're not. Oh my God. Live like him? No. No, 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 no. Spirits? Oh, that means you're working with the devil, Francis. Actually, you want to know something? The devil that's supposed to come up now is the devil from the Mayans, Bolonyok. I met him a couple of times. One was when we were just finishing a mandala for Puerto Rico, and Bolonyok showed up. I was like, okay. By the way, the coccyx is where the gnomes are, Gnomes, those little people. And you can ask them to do stuff for you. And that's where, oh my God, I'm sorry. I know it sounds crazy. Okay, we are going to do this mantra for 5 minutes. Here we go. So, did you get it? The big issue is shame. If we take care of the shame, there's no big issue. There's apologies, there's explanations. Oh, perfect. I want to remind you of the Mayan Tortuguero prophecy, where the Mayans said that at the end of the end times, which is now, people's subpersonalities would come up and they would go crazy. They would feel so bad that they would go crazy. And that, according to the Mayans, is how the planet will end. And the craziness will not be about bad people killing good people or good people killing because they're trying to defend themselves. The craziness will be due to people not being able to handle their own darkness, which is will be revealed with the Epstein files. If their darkness was obvious, we would already know it, and we do know that about several of the people, but there's going to be a ton of others that hid it. Fear. So, exactly what the Mayans prophesied is what we're in the middle of. But prophecy is to tell you where you're going to end up if you don't self correct. And it is in that vein that I give you this information, knowing that you would prefer that I simply be a gossip about what I see in other people. But that's not what you need. We'll see you again, probably tomorrow. Lots of stuff going on. Okay?